if we are doing this right now in the real world, like, they all deserve to die. Every single one of them. I don't give a fuck. What's going on, y'all boys? It's your man MK. Welcome back to another reaction. The most savage virus in horror, the Rage virus. 28 years later, if you guys know that movie that is coming out, 28 weeks later, I have never watched it. I seen the clip. It was somebody running like to a boat, and they was all running up behind them. I need to watch this movie before 28 years later come out, because I actually like the concept of this, because apparently they aren't zombies. It's the Rage virus, so they're still human. I don't know, but I'm going to find out right here and right now. So if you guys enjoyed this video, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Share with your whole family, friends, and enemies. And I ain't gonna hold you no longer. Let's just go ahead and get right into the video, man.
Terrifying takes on the infection turns person into monster trope. And the poor guy you see
Wait.
The Rage virus might be one of the most terrifying takes on the infection turns person into monster trope. And the poor guy you see in front of you is a man who contracted it. Its horror lies in its ferocity, the brutality, and how quickly it spreads. But more on that later. Today, I want to explore the savagery of the Rage virus, because while most fictional horror viruses may just kill you or turn you into a zombie, this one does something far worse. The Rage virus victims are not zombies, they are people possessed by a blinding primal urge to just kill everyone. And they do it with an animalistic ferocity. To that end, let's bring our favourite test subject Mike out of hibernation for another gruesome adventure. But while Mike finds his best running shoes and prayer beads,
so it just makes you want to go on a killing spree type shit. Isn't steroids like that? Like, it just makes you, if you take too much or something, I don't know.
Of which are going to be of any use. I just want to set the scene for you as to why this particular franchise stands out to me. But first, a quick word from today's sponsor. Today's sponsor is me. And all I'm asking from you today is to hit the like button. That is.
But I gotta snipe you like everything else.
For supporting the growth of Gather Around the Campfire story time. I was but 10 years old when I watched 28 Weeks Later at a friend's house after a few rounds of Modern Warfare 2, the OG, not the remake, and some 2-for-1 dominoes. Times were better.
The best one, by the way.
We skipped the first film, ignored the age rating, and hit play.
He's making me want to watch. I ain't gonna cap. I might just gotta watch.
Big mistake. That night changed me. That film became the blueprint for horror in my mind. The visceral violence, the chaos, the shocking gut-wrenching scene of an infected husband gouging out his wife's eyes, her blood-curdling screams, that scene haunted me for years. I still skip it when rewatching to this day. Something changed in little Connor's brain during that film. That was his butterfly effect. I walked home later that evening a changed man. Well, changed boy. So yeah, this film fucked me up. Let's be real though, if I watched it for the first time now, it probably wouldn't faze me, but because I was 10, it absolutely scarred my tiny child brain. Anyway, now that we know my origin story and how my fascination for horror came about, let's delve into the Rage virus and take a quick brief look at the lore. And by the way, I'm not including lore from the comic books because they aren't canon, and there are several
Oh, they got comic books? That's kind of crazy. Hey, I didn't know they had comics. Might gotta read some.
discrepancies in them that directly contradict what we see in the films. Right, I'm getting off my soapbox. The story of the Rage virus begins, like many horror stories do, in a laboratory, specifically a research facility in Cambridge. A group of scientists had been experimenting on chimpanzees in an effort to study and manipulate human emotions, particularly aggression. The goal? To find a way to suppress violent impulses in humans, basically to engineer peace in a bottle. But here's where the big red flag starts waving around. They didn't just study aggression, they infected the chimps with a genetically engineered virus designed to induce uncontrollable rage.
Like, why would you need, like, what is the point of that? Why would you need to try and make that an experiment on things with that? I will never understand people like they deserve to die. If we are doing this right now in the real world, like, they all deserve to die. Every single one of them. I don't give a fuck. Why even risk something like that? What would be the point of something like that? Like, burn it all.
That's right. They created rage in its purest, most violent form. They distilled the concept, the essence of rage into a virus and gave it to those chimps. The scientists wanted to study how to suppress aggression by inducing it first, a move that just bellows what could possibly go wrong. Enter the animal rights activists. Believing the chimps were being tortured, they broke into the facility to release them, ignoring the desperate warnings of the lead scientist, who begged them not to open the cages.
The chimps are infected. They're highly contagious. They've been given an inhibitor.
Infected with what?
In order to cure, you must first understand.
Infected with what?
Rage.
But it was too late.
Why still open it? They deserve to die. Like, y'all are stupid. The movie didn't even need to stop. It could have ended right there. The movie could have ended right there. Why would you still open that? If a scientist told me, bruh, this whole universe deserves to die. If a nigga told me don't open the door, there's a demon behind the door, would you still open that shit?
The chimps attacked as soon as they were freed, transmitting the virus to the activists in seconds. That moment marked the beginning of the end. The infection spread like wildfire through England with no cure, no resistance, and absolutely no warning. Now, as I've said, unlike your typical zombie virus, rage doesn't kill its hosts. It just hijacks their bodies and turns them into vessels of pure, primal violence. The UK government was overwhelmed. The military couldn't contain it, and NATO? They basically threw up their hands and said, "You're on your own, mate," isolating mainland Britain and letting the infection burn itself out. Eventually, many of the infected starved to death, because here's the thing, rage doesn't make you a cannibal, it just makes you want to kill, not eat, not survive, just destroy. Although maybe all that has changed in 28 years later, we'll have to wait and see. And just when things started to look like they were calming down and repopulation efforts were beginning, a second outbreak hit, triggered by a carrier, a person who was immune to the virus but still able to spread it. Cue 28 weeks later, America and all of its freedom steps in, tries to repopulate the safe zones, and you guessed it.
Damn, that's crazy. So so you can still spread it even though you're immune? Damn.
Everything goes to shit again. Cue fire bombings, gas attacks, military breakdowns, and people getting infected all over again.
So why didn't it work this time? Why not do the same thing the first time?
We've lost control.
And that brings us to the final shot of 28 weeks later. Paris. Infected sprinting through the metro, the virus has made it to mainland Europe. Well, that is what we see at the end of 28 weeks later, but that might have been walked back now. Because as I'm writing this, 28 years later is only weeks away, and from what I've seen, it looks like the virus has evolved now. Into what? No doubt something equally horrifying, but we'll have to wait and see. But either way,
I can't wait to this movie drop. I need to hurry to see 28 weeks.
Still. And I've seen a lot of discourse and speculation about whether it went global, and nothing has yet been confirmed or denied from what I can see, so we will just have to wait for the film for more information. Now that is where I'm calling time on the lore, but there are a lot more in-depth videos out there if you want more lore breakdowns. But moving on, let's take a look at this horrific virus.
Let's get into it.
So, the rage virus, it is a virulent, blood-borne virus that sends its victims into a state of extreme rage. I think the word rage isn't even the right word. The right word doesn't exist. We need a new word. It is red. Pure, unapologetic, unfiltered, unrelenting red rage. Not anger, not even fury, just raw fucking red. It just makes its victims so hate-filled, so angry, so hell-bent on hurting people. It is primal rage beyond compare. And even describing it as contagious is barely even the right word. It's instant. A drop of blood, a spray of vomit, game over. And the amount of time it takes to turn a person is proportional to how much infected fluid you are exposed to. If an infected vomits up blood onto your face and it goes all in your mouth, your eyes, your nose, you're done. We're talking merely a few seconds, maybe. A single drop in your eye, like what happened to the dad in the first film, might give you a few more seconds, but seconds is all you get. This virus acts fast, like the zombie virus in World War Z, but so much more violent. Once the virus is in the system, it doesn't waste any time. It spreads and replicates throughout the body, causing excruciating muscle spasms and a burning sensation. A side effect of all this violent cellular activity is the rupture of the capillaries, which I recall my science teacher telling me all those years ago are the tiny tubes that carry blood around the body, of which the walls are only 1 cell thick, making them very vulnerable to rupture. This rupture causes the eyes to become bloodshot, the frequent vomiting of blood, and the near constant leaking of blood from bodily orifices, such as the mouth, nose, and eyes. Also, the eyes turn blood red too.
So if you get infected, like how he said in the beginning of the movie, they can still starve and stuff. Can't they like die from blood loss? Because it just look like a lot of blood is leaving their body. So I would assume some could die from blood loss, right?
Isn't that lovely? As with most viruses, a very small group of people do possess a natural immunity to the virus, but will act as carriers. They don't show any of the infectious traits, except typically maybe discoloured eyes, but other than that, they're okay. They won't try and kill their kids. Just don't kiss them. Moving on. Once the virus takes hold, which happens within seconds, the person is overwhelmed by rage and the original personality is effectively lost. They aren't dead. This virus doesn't kill its host, nor does it even result in their death. It just completely rewires them. The rage virus puts its victims into a permanent state of murderous rage, with no higher purpose than to kill everyone who is not also infected. The sight of anyone not infected will cause the host to go completely apeshit, scientific term, charge them down and savagely kill them, unless the infection takes effect before the kill can conclude, and then they will be released and instead join the infected ranks. Another side effect of the virus is the constant stimulation of adrenaline. These things are wired to the eyeballs on their own supply, and so their levels of endurance are much higher than the poor sods they're chasing, giving them increased speed, strength, and agility. Now, we aren't talking climbing the walls and shit, but they'll vault cars, climb barriers, and break down doors and windows. This trance-like state of hostile aggression, however, does not lend any bandwidth to self-preservation. In pursuit of their prey, they will ignore any and all risks to themselves. They'll charge into gunfire, nosedive off rooftops, get tangled in barbed wire, smash face first into walls, casually ignore helicopter blades, and then, through sheer physical exhaustion, eventually collapse and die of starvation. But they will remain violent until the end. As to how to beat the infection, there are only 2 ways really: kill the infected or wait it out. Purely from a vulnerability standpoint.
But if you are immune, well, cause like you're still infected, do they attack the people who are immune in here? Cause if they do, that's kind of clean. Let me move the light. It's kind of dark. Hold on. Is that better? That's a little better. But yeah, do they get attacked, or is it like they can, you know what I'm saying?
Standpoint, these things aren't any
freely.
more protected from lethal wounds than a normal human. So, a big enough drop or a few well-placed gunshots will put them down. Alternatively, because these things don't eat, they only kill, and they have no sense of self-preservation, they will eventually die of starvation. Ultimately, the rage virus isn't just a plot device, it's a force of nature. Fast, fatal, and absolutely feral. And even now, after all the horror media I've consumed since, the rage virus still haunts me. It doesn't just kill you, it breaks you, and that, to me, is horror at its finest. You can thank Mike for his pain and suffering on Ko-Fi.
Thank you, Mike, for your pain and suffering. But as I said at the beginning of the video, I need to watch this movie. I need to. Are there 3 movies or 2 movies? Is there a 28 days later and 28 weeks later, or is it just weeks? I don't know, but I'm going to find out after this video. And if you guys enjoyed that video, make sure you like, comment, subscribe. The original video will be the first link in the description box below. Share with your mom, dad, sister, brother, grandma, grandpa, daughter, and son. Got a new one. And I will see you guys in the next video, man.